Clash of Clans Podcast, OG, episode 73. And welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Scotty, 827, joined live in studio by the feralest of the swines, WarPig. How's it going, man? Welcome back.
It's going good. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back here.
I think I had a little bit better one in my brain beforehand, but when you say feralest of the swine out loud, it just doesn't quite roll off the tongue. And it probably shouldn't, because that should be like a feared cry, I guess, from our enemies.
I love it. I love the nickname Feral Swine. I appreciate you dubbing me that. Wish I could change my name to it full time.
And I love that meme for you. The one that I sent you about the pig that drank an 18-pack of beer and got in a fight with a cow.
Do you know? He's my idol. That's what I look up to.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
It was like the cover of a news story or something like that, and I just saw it, and it's like, oh, this pig that got drunk and went wild. So just destroying things as per usual.
But unfortunately for me, I have terrible success when I'm trying to clash while drinking. So I have to remind myself, like, hey, if you've had a couple beers, don't do your Legend League hits, because it never goes well.
Don't drink and clash. It always goes wrong. You can donate and stuff, things like that. Yeah.
It's true.
I remember, yeah, I just, that never went well when I did that. WarPig, if you have not been paying attention, is part of House of L, co-leader in House of L, and fearless war attacker, destroying things. Good to have you back and to catch up on a lot of stuff. We've got a lot to talk about, even though there's not a ton in the news, really, for Clash. Besides, really, I guess the updates for, we were talking October, and then a little bit.
Yeah, so it sounds like October is when they got I think the biggest update that's coming is there's two of them. The spring traps, which is going to affect me because I'm still using the Spirit Walk. And then also they have the ranked versus the farming mode, which will be interesting.
So with that, right, and just since we're talking about it, before I forget, as we're looking at these armies in L right now, right, like as we're talking and working through some of those army compositions and thinking about changing our armies, because that's been a little bit post CWL. These bases are harder. I'm not as successful as I want to be. And so we were kind of having this. Are you thinking about that right now? That update?
So I'm thinking about it. And I'm not changing anything currently, because knowing that this is the last Legend League, I want to try to get as high as I can. I'm going to do that with my tried and true Dragon Army. So I've, this past CWL and this whole month, I'm just singly focused on dragons to try to get as high as I can.
Okay. Because when we're talking about that stuff, so Goat in the clan is running a comp. And I think Pecapedia, and a few other people, where they're kind of running comps that I think I would like. And when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, man, I don't know if that's going to work post Springtrap. I mean, it should, but I don't want to give up my furnaces and things that I think might be meta afterwards, I guess. If that makes sense.
I think post update, the biggest hit is going to be long Spirit Locks. But like for you, where you're running, Roots and Super Yetis, I don't think that's going to have a huge impact to what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, because there's, I think every part of my army might just be like insurance. Like I don't want to more than 3 invis spirit walk because I'm gonna mess it up. Something's gonna go wrong. Um, I don't want to use all roots, so I just use a couple of those and a couple of these other things just to like minimize. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad. But is it going to hurt that? How bad is it going to hurt like the initial spirit walk?
I think it's going to be a pretty big shift because, and like even, I follow the Apotheos guys, Logan over there. I copy his attack, and I think even he's kind of gearing up that hey, next month it's probably going to change because I'm running a 10 invis spirit walk with an overgrowth. So
Okay.
and if my spirit walk goes as planned, I'll triple. If she dies, then I'm probably just salvaging the 2 stars. But luckily, I've gotten pretty good at predicting where she's going to go.
Yeah, you're really good at that. Like you make it look so easy. And I picked up a ton from you. Because you can get really, I think when people look at a spirit walk, there's one way to do it, and then there's another way to do it where you're maximizing the the coverage, and covering the one thing so it stands on the one thing, and you do that really well. Is it going to take out? Are those spring traps going to take out the spirit fox?
So I think they'll hit your RC, right? Because they go after the biggest troop. So, but they will affect her health. So the question is, if you go into a baited area that's got, all the spring traps, is it going to kill her or not? We don't know yet. So I don't know how big of an impact it's going to be.
Yeah.
I've just assumed that come next month, I'll probably have to learn a new attack, which I'm okay with. I'm ready to shift it up anyways.
What would you do? You have an idea, or would you just replace the spirit walk part?
Uh, I'll probably try some of those Super Yeti attacks. Um, Last month before CWL, I was experimenting with some different armies. So I was running Super Yetis. I was trying out some of the fireball attacks and a couple of different root armies. Super Yeti seems the easiest to pick up and be fairly successful. And it seems like a lot of pros are starting to switch to Super Yeti. So I'm just going to basically look at whatever's going on in Worlds and what's the strongest meta, and I'll copy that. And
Okay.
that'll be my new attack in October.
I was wondering this week, and I've been super busy, and it's been busy around the House of L, and we're doing um, draft wars and things like that. Do you know exactly why people are choosing the Super Yeti over the E Titan?
Uh, Probably because I've heard it be called like the ground version of an Electro Dragon. So because it's got that chain electricity, it
Yeah,
kind of does splash damage to some extent. Well, I guess the E Titan does too. So I don't know why. E Titans are tough though because they get stuck on walls and they like just won't go through walls.
that's where I'm kind of so I was looking at the HP, and I was looking, and I was like, okay, I'm getting that chain damage, right? And it's going over the walls. But at the end of my attacks, there's 3 Super Yetis, hanging out and going slow. So I started working E Titans back in. And I thought, well, why not just do all E Titans? Those were working about the same, but I was getting through parts more, but I'm using the torch. So I'm not necessarily, with the walls, it kind of helps. But then I started to mix them together. And I think having one. So if I put 3 E Titans in, it's kind of overkilling one thing, right? Like if I have 3 of them
Yep.
together, but I feel like I'm stacking the benefits of both the other way. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. I should just go with some meta, but I don't know what it is about me that I just want to figure out something. I guess. You see my
I
army.
appreciate. I do. And I was that way up until this last month. I was like trying to take a pros army and tweak it and make it my own. And I'm like, why am I fixing something that's not broken?
Yeah,
So, like, I was trying to force. I think the last time we spoke, I was really trying to force the spear to work in my long spirit walk. So I was actually trying to do a recall. I've given up on that, and I've switched over to the haste file, and I've just kind of forced myself to figure out how to not let her die once I hit that haste button. And just being smarter about where I'm going to place it. Like, make sure you hit the haste when she's in, you know, with a bunch of different defenses, not where she's going to have to jump pretty far. Um,
maybe
so,
maybe I should try
it,
proven army and see how good I do with that.
it,
Maybe my
but
rates
that
just all
doesn't
go
mean.
up.
Oh, you've been doing pretty high. You're pretty high right now in Legend League, so you're
Oh,
doing pretty well.
I have been at this is the last Legend season, and here I am in Legend League, staying like making no progress this month. I just got stuck, and it's like one day it's 0, next day it's 3, and then it's like down 37, up 37. So I feel like with my army, there's something about to tip, and it's just one of those things where it's like I'm this close to having like I'm getting 40s, and when I hit the 40, the 3 stars, and I'm doing really well, and I feel it, and I'm going, and then something happens, and I lose the rhythm. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like there's something where I hit the base in the right way with the right rhythm, and as long as I'm doing that, but I don't have it like articulated yet, and I think part of it might be that I need to, instead of funneling steer, because I get into to a rhythm at night, and I'm like, yep, I'm steering, and then I start in the morning, and I start back to this kind of funnel, like push in instead of wrap around, and I get thrown off. So I'm this close, is what I'm thinking. But you've heard me say that
I'm in
many
the same
times.
boat. Well, I'm feeling the same thing because I feel like I like to like I historically will like clash before I get out of bed. So like I'll wake up and I'll sign in and do a couple hits, but I'm getting to the point I'm sitting at 5,800 trophies. I'm like, I need to be on my game or I'm gonna miss. So
Yeah,
like I stop. Like I get up, I do my little stretching and stuff in the morning, have some coffee, make sure I'm awake, and now then I'm doing my hits. So because I'm like, I don't want to blow this last Legend season. I think I'm too invested in it. Like I don't
yeah,
know. I shouldn't care as much as I do, but I really want to finish high.
and it's at that point in the season where I'm like, okay, we're gonna, no matter what, you're gonna rise to probably where you're gonna be, as long as you have your right army, right? Like you saw Swim or other people come in at the end of the month and shoot right up. So
Yep.
so I feel like as long as I nail it before the end, I'll end where I'm supposed to be. But it doesn't it feel like a different month in Legends that way?
It does, and it's so long. This was such a long season, and I'm like so close to 6,000 trophies, but I'm not quite in sight yet. It's killing me.
I wonder if I'll get, maybe just the ceiling gets raised enough, and because we almost have like a month left, right? It's like the 15th of October or something.
We got 16 days left.
Okay. So yeah, now it's the time to like turn it on, but and it usually comes to this point where or I hear it in chat too, where people say, "Oh my god, I'm at 98%, 99%." And at that point that it's just like one thing off, like a different piece of equipment or something that'll push it over and maybe just work, for a while until things change up or till the next update or something.
Or they just hesitated. Like so, like sometimes you just hesitate for that 1 second, and that's all you need to time fail.
Yeah. I I thinking about it this week. If you look at my war attacks, I'm not. doing as well consistently as I was. And then I'll go into Legends and just kill it for, a few attacks, or I'll hit that one base, a very similar base over and over, and then I'll get there and something just kind of goes wrong. Do you ever feel like you're just holding back a little bit because it's the war, or like you're playing it a little bit safe, and then that might be hurting you?
I'm usually pretty aggressive in our wars. Um, or at least regular wars. I usually try to be pretty aggressive in regular war. CWL, I try not to be quite as aggressive. Um,
I think that's
so
what's
no,
hurting
not
me.
too much. Yeah.
Because, like, let's say if I'm gonna, and here's where it plays out. I'm hitting a base, and I've been using the torch, right? When I might hit the torch ability a little bit early, maybe a second early, or I'm thinking, oh God, I cannot lose this thing and risk the 1 star or something. And it would probably work out, right? It usually does in Legends. But it's like I'm having just a worse record in war than Legends, because I'm just not looking at it going, all right, who cares? Right. If it doesn't get through here, push it. Um I mean, which is good for CWL, but maybe for war it's not such a big deal. Maybe that little bit of risk will make 50% more difference in, the amount of times it goes right, I guess. If I'm making sense on it.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think to your point, like war is the time to kind of, oh, well, if you're doing it Legends, that's one thing. But yeah, I mean, the way we run our wars, it's like we want people to 3-star. You're not going to get penalized for taking a little bit more of a risk or hitting that top base, even if it's a very weak.
Well, and that kind of is part of our discussion on like CWL too, right? Like how do we decide who, now that we have definite 15 roster and in one clan, and then we have other clans where we can put the roster. Uh, how do we balance practicing and trying things in war, and then and kind of that ever evolving question of like, as we now that we're in champs, oh yeah, we should probably talk about that too. Like, how do we make roster decisions differently? And we've been talking about this for as long as I can remember, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and yeah, and I go back and forth on this because I love how like the Pushing Force guys, they have like a very good tool that they use. Um, but ours has been a little bit more subjective, but it's happened pretty naturally. Like I don't think anybody's going over to House of L2 upset.
Yeah.
Um, we have some heavy hitters that just came in. Like we have some pretty new members that are crushing it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a
Goat.
couple more people that are gonna get pumped. Yeah, Goat. I mean, he's a pretty amazing attacker.
Beccapedia, I think, has been CWLing with us, but like over the last month and a half, like there's, and I think a new one even today, TH17. So as we're
Yeah.
looking at this, yeah, like people come in, and we've got our rotation and team, and it starts to, um, it starts to get a little bit tougher. And then like last CWL, there was a member over in L2 who I wasn't sure how involved, right? Like part of the question is when CWL comes up, does it matter to you? That's part of it. Like, does it matter to you where you war? Um, because if I know you really, big into CWL, and it's important to you to be in L, that would give me like a someplace else to go. But if somebody's in L and it's like, it doesn't really matter to me where I'm at. Like I'm happy to help the team wherever. Well, then that person could move over. So as we're figuring it out, like this person just said, "Hey, how do I get on the main roster?" And I said, "Hey, sorry, I didn't know that it was like super important to you, and I didn't want people to think like L2 is like a tier 2, right? Because it's just the league that we're in and the people that we have." And so I wasn't quite sure what to say really, because we're still in that process of figuring it out in terms of like
And I,
how would you move up.
thinking out loud, which is scary to do on a podcast,
That's
but
all right. If it gets too out of control, I can always edit it
you
out
edit it up for me.
for me.
Um, Something Tyler said that team's doing. I really like how he said they have coach's choice.
Yep, me
So I
too.
think we do make it raw, stats driven for, call it the first 10 to 12 guys. And then the next five people, just leave it up to the co-leaders to discuss. Like, so, if someone's having a bad month, but we really think that, hey, they are a capable player. They've been with L for years. Let's make sure they're on the main roster if it's important to them.
Yeah, I I agree. I love the captain's choice, and I loved it. And this kind of goes to what Liam said, like with the trust metric, and I think that's like one big thing with the CWL roster that we have to figure out, or kind of keep in mind, is that core identity of a clan too. Like if all the co-leaders weren't there and it was just new members or something, for example, how do you get, if we're just looking at metrics, it could quite possibly, we could end up with a CWL clan, hypothetically, that wasn't like the main roster or something. So
Yeah, that neither me or you are good enough to compete on. Like,
right.
we don't.
I got to keep myself safe here, right? Somehow.
Yes.
No, but looking at that, right? In all fairness, I think I like that captain's choice, because I think it almost has to be that core leadership team, in a sense, the people who are running the war. And we know how people attack during the month, and we know where they're at level wise, what we can expect for them, even if it's not playing out in the things, because they're trying out new armies. Right. And so I think for that, if we know, like, hey, these people have earned their spots, and as long as they're actively warring, right? Because if you've got kind of a captain's choice, how do you, so that person doesn't war all month, and then then whatnot. But then you could kind of say, hey, not on this. But I like that as just kind of a starting point, so that way you kind of have something to work around. If you've got 5 captain's choice, or 5 people that are gonna to be on there, then how do you move around the other things? And maybe part of it is just getting L2's roster way more locked down, because we're kind of always waiting for overflow, and we're not quite sure all the time on who's going to be showing up for that war. But if we could lock that roster down to a really tight 15 or 30 TH17, then the war isn't being won or lost by a few that are maybe not taking it seriously. Your,
Yeah.
your
No, I think
thoughts?
that's a good idea. And I know in L2 you had a couple of people that were missing attacks, and that's always tough.
Yeah, and I
Um,
trying to switch people out, and yeah,
yeah, I think that makes sense. Because I think we have a pretty good system. We have a pretty good core. Like even without looking at the numbers, I know who the top, say 12 people are going to be. Like I can tell you just based on
yep,
watching them people play. Like I'm like, all right, I know who the top 12 are. And then it's always like, okay, the next 5, who is it? Like then we're looking at stats, who's new, who joined. And I'm looking at the numbers right now. Like if we did that, it would be exactly who we talked. There's no one looking at our top 17. It's exactly who you would think it'd be. It's pretty much our exact
yeah,
AWL from last. last month.
Yeah, and we got done with CWL last month, and when we were done, so I had posted everything on the web, right? And for some reason, it makes a little bit of a difference to me because now I can just it's like the the resting place. And I thought, well, how are we gonna, this CWL planning and organizing gets to be kind of crazy. I looked at it and I thought, well, maybe we start here and say what needs to change. We take this list from last month, and instead of rebuilding a whole list and looking at attacks, we use the data then to work from that roster. Okay, what needs to change? Instead of like, starting fresh, right? So we look at, okay, here's L. Uh, does anybody that was in L2, or do we have new people? Who's on the playing list? How do we switch it out? Um, from there.
And I like that idea because kind of moving into the next thing is we did really well this last CWL. Like we promoted to champs. So like whatever we did, it worked. So
Yeah.
let's keep doing that.
Yeah, that is it was an awesome CWL. L just worked together. I don't know if you were it just felt like things were flowing really well. People were working together, and we were going along kicking butt. And then we lost I think the fifth war, right? If I'm
Yep. Yeah, we
remember,
lost one.
lost one, and we kind of stumbled a little bit towards the end. But we I mean, when I'm saying stumbled, it was like a regular little bit of war stumbling where we just weren't killing it as hard at the beginning, right? Like, so, but we had like a 20 plus win, 20 trophy, 20 star win, right? In the end.
Yeah. Yeah, we ended up winning by quite a bit.
And so it was awesome to see this. I started to wonder because we swapped out one player each time. And this is one of the things I want to ask you was, do you think that we could add in one or two swapping out? So make it either swapping 2 or 3 players, and wondering if that would help with that long week of hitting or not.
I think I think the core people we have attacking in CWL for L can handle the 7 attacks. So what I do think they're veteran players, and if we had more people that deserve to be on the main roster hitting in champs, I don't think anybody would mind sitting for a round or two if it benefited the whole clan.
Yeah. If we're looking at who we have, right? Does that make sense to does it make sense to have 2 or 3? I mean, I guess I don't know what it would look like in terms of how many people are sitting or in or out, or if I had just Chewy had mentioned 2, like sitting 2 people, and we'd only done the one, and I thought one person could come in as a second rotation, but would that sit too many people? I guess I don't know what the effects of that would be, but that's one way just to have like the roster be just a little bit bigger. Um, I didn't know if we got towards the end and the week was just starting to kind of get long. I mean, CWL is tiring, I think.
I think the last 2 wars, honestly, I think we started celebrating too soon.
Yeah.
Is also looking at the numbers, we were up by like 30 stars going into to war 5. I think people started celebrating, and I think we just got a little sloppy, and
And,
we played a harder team. So we also played a hard team on War 5.
yeah, and it's like we're
Or War
celebrating. It's like, hold on, everybody, hold on. We gotta we can just gotta make sure we get this one, and this because it could have flipped a little bit there and ended up really close. Um,
Hey, and I've done it. I had egg on my face. The last war, I claimed the number one base right, or as soon as the war started, I claimed the number one butt base. I was having an awesome CWL, and what do? I one starred it.
oh,
So I'm part of the problem.
that sucks when that happens. Oh, I'm like, oh. But you're the hardest person on yourself about it for sure.
Yeah,
But you had a good
exactly.
track record the whole time.
Oh, I was doing great up until that moment. My RC chased first. She chased an enemy queen. I invis, I saved it. I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then she chased a fire mite, which has never happened to me
Oh,
before. And she like ran across the base right into a spitter and was just dead. And I'm sitting there with like 6 invises. I'm like,
that's stupid.
and I just
No,
no.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's we came and we were hitting hard and like that like what would that have been if you had sat like one round or something before? But then again, if we're doing 3 and we're going the lowest hit or 2 in the lowest hit and the same people are doing the lowest hit, maybe that doesn't quite work out for stars or I don't know. I don't know if I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if I had to or sat for like or even just did every other day in a sense because I almost feel like maybe I'd be fresher every time. I don't know, but just these little things we got to think about, I guess. Would your
I
gut?
know
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
I will be trying not to sit. But if I have the lowest attack, I will not complain about sitting.
Yeah.
But I'm competitive. I want to be on the field. I want to be playing. But I do recognize that, hey, if I'm the lowest percentage, even if it's a high 2-star, like if I sit with an 80% 2-star, like that's awesome. That means we as a clan are performing well.
Yeah.
So I'll sit on the bench and somebody else can come in.
And that was like a few of the attacks that sat. They were seriously like, oh, this is what I have to sit somebody for, but it was nice to kind of keep things rotating too.
I think there was one war where we sat someone that was in the middle 90%. Like almost everybody went perfect.
Yeah.
And then we had somebody with a 90% 2-star. Like that's tough.
Like, sorry. And I think I don't know if we had it all I think it worked out this way, but how do you feel about the just going based on percent instead of stars for sitting?
I think it's got to be both. I think it has to be stars. I think a 1-star you should be sitting.
Okay. I'm
Like
always like, because some of them are like
yeah.
1-star 99%. Should that compare to like a 72% 2-star?
I think I personally would rather get the 72% 2-star than the 99% 1-star.
Yeah, I guess yeah, that makes sense.
1-star is tough. When you get a 1-star, it's like, oh man, like it's so visible on the map. Everyone saw it. Luckily, our team's like, hey, nice try. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, no one planned for it, but like a 1-star that's a pretty big deal. That really hurts you in CWL.
And you made me think of it this way too. I think I'm looking at it in terms of how well they did, right? Because I think seeing that if I look at just the percentage, it's probably a better indicator of ability, maybe. But in terms of contribution or like effect to CWL, I think in kind of keeping it within that makes sense. And we'll stick with like one account in L and maybe in L2 open it up for multiple accounts and try to get the 30. With that, it's always been it almost seems like we could do the 30 and then it's like 27 or 26 active people, or like the rest are 13s. So we can figure that part out.
Yeah, and I like that. And I like the one account L, and I know me and you have talked about this offline. I want to encourage as many different participants as we can. And so I'm pretty I believe strongly that it should just be one account. And it mitigates risk because
Yeah,
every once in a while someone misses an attack. And if you have 2 or 3 accounts in that CWL, like that's a huge miss. Like all of a sudden now, like you just demoted because you had one player that wasn't able to get there on time.
yeah, and you don't want to put anybody in that position either, even though they
Yep.
think, hey, shit happens, earthquakes, fires, floods, whatever, stuff happens, Wi-Fi, aliens. I mean, who knows? So it's just like it just is a lot of social risk too to like somebody in the clan. Um, and otherwise also, if we looked at like the old days, like a year ago, right? And we have Ahel in his accounts, and we stuck with everybody with big accounts, multiple accounts. We wouldn't have the L we have today because uh, we just wouldn't have room for people, and then they
Yeah.
would have kind of slowly.
If you did it that way a year ago, I would have been wearing an L2 because I was so rushed. Like I just got to max
Yeah,
recently,
me too.
so I would have been pushed down.
Yeah, I would have been too. I was a TH15, I think, this time last year.
Yeah.
So, uh, okay. Well, so I'll post that up for us then, and we'll just start looking at the roster, and I'll do the post out the things. And I did want to mention this to people out there because when I was talking with Slade, I followed up with him afterwards. This is how we do our CWL sign up. And it works really well. I think some people use that clan sign up thing where you go sign up for the next war. And he was saying on the podcast that it doesn't show you the names. But if you take a clan message, or not like a clan mail, but like a regular message, and you pin it and you say react to this message with a thumbs up, then it'll sit over in the pin messages, and when you can just click on the thumbs up button and see everybody there that is signed up, then, and just as a little tip to everybody out there, then just take a screenshot of that, and then you can highlight the names from the text on the screen thing, and then copy and paste them onto something else. So that's a really good way to organize across clans, and then grab a master list. Anything else on CWL?
No, I just want to say like awesome work to everyone on the team. We had a couple people that did amazing. I think
Yeah.
Fury went perfect. We had numerous
Yeah.
people that went like 98% or high 90s on just like one attack, and the rest was perfect. So like the team as a whole did really good. The bases that you bought held up very well. I think we were one of the people scored the lowest amount of stars against us. So like it clicked. It was a fun CWL. The clan chat was lively. Like it was a fun week. So I'm pretty excited going to the next
It's like the
CWL.
wheels were greased a little bit, like how it was flowing, I think. And those bases too, it was cool to see this month the evolution of the bases. I don't know if you felt it like last month, the bases we got, I didn't feel like there was a big leap in like the base design, but I feel like this month we saw more spread out, those like kind of, what kind of bases what do they even call them? Those new bases, like they're spread out, but they're kind of isolated cores, or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. A lot of our bases like that, where like it's not a ring base. The town hall is not in the center. It's off center, but then there's like a big gap around it. So it's like an off center ring base. with big gas because it makes it very hard to RC charge. And I think that's why they're kind of the meta right now.
Do you have a thing you're doing with the RC charge right now? That's like,
I'm bringing in overgrace. So if the base is really spread out, instead of trying to invis over stuff, I'll overgrowth and just push her right where I need to.
oh.
Yeah.
So, okay, wait a second. So you're going to go in and just overgrowth everything right in front of her and send her right exactly to where she's.
I'm doing I do so much during my RC charge. I'm
Okay.
so I start my RC charge. I
Fix
have
a
five
sandwich.
rocket. Yep. I have five rocket loons that are dedicated to just funneling her. So like let's say so I'm gonna go like at the middle, and usually it's like it just happens to be it's usually like a whiz tower. Or with that wizard tower, and then there's usually like a bomb tower and a mortar on either side of it. I'll use the rocket looms on each to take those out. That pushes her in a layer, and then it's usually like there's like a raid section or some high section with like a weak corner. So then I'll use the overgrowth if I need to on one of the corners to continue to push her into that third layer. So there's a lot going on. So it's definitely there's some room for error, but when it works, like you just if you hit that invis, I'm sorry, the haste vial right when you get into the core of the base, it's just melted.
So do you have the boots and the haste?
Boots in the haste. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, when you watch WarPig's attack, and I remember the first time I saw your spirit walk, I just was like, that's I can never do that. And you would take off like a whole side of a base with it. I didn't know you could do that with the spirit walk. Really, I just kind of thought, oh, you go in here and do this, and you created just super nice funnels. So he probably stops for a
It's
sandwich and get some gas on the way too. He's got
it's just
time.
stubbornness. I saw someone do it in Worlds a while ago, and I've been practicing for at least 6 months to try to figure it out. And I finally feel like, all right, I can do all the things and actually drive my RC where I want.
Right in
Um,
time for the spring trap update.
exactly. Right as it's going to get nerfed.
Did you learn anything about like if you were thinking about like easy mistakes you were doing, or maybe is there anything you can articulate about what you learned? I know sometimes it just kind of gets into your habits, but
Yeah, so on the spirit walk side, it's really watching the time, and we gotta drop it like as it's changing to the 7 and the 3. So for the spirit walk, we talked about this last time, but you put your invis down when the clock hits 7 and 3, assuming you start with your RC charge.
yep.
Um, so you got to anticipate that clock switching. So the spell is hitting it as the clock switches.
So
And you
as it
have to
hits seven,
anticipate where. Yes, exactly. As it hits 7, not when it. Like you have to be pushing the button or pushing the screen as the clock rolls over.
that that helped me because I think I was doing it. I was hitting it when the seven, it would be seven, and then I'd hit it before we talked the last time.
Yeah, yeah. So you got to anticipate that, and you also have to anticipate where she's going to go and invis over the defense she's attacking, because if she's hit it 2 or 3 times, her aura is going to be enough to finish it. So let her hit something 2 or 3 times, and then invis over that. So she'll go over the defense, and as she's coming over it, she'll take it out with her aura and go on to the next one.
Okay, I was letting it die. That could give me an
Yep.
extra little bit.
That'll help. That'll help you take out 2 or 3 more buildings.
One thing, and I wonder if you do this. I've sometimes on that first round, right? It starts and the first 7. Sometimes I'll try to push that first one to 6 and let her take a couple shots because she's not going to get hit by as much. And then she won't have that 1 second, as much of that 1 second lag as when she gets in just a little bit. Is that wise or no?
Yes, I do the same thing. So the very first invis, I usually drop at 6. And then the next one at the 3. So you, like you
Okay.
said, you skip, that's called, I think they call it a single cycle versus a double cycle.
Oh,
And then the other thing that I'm doing during my spirit walk, which I know a lot of the pros are doing, is I drop an earthquake. So especially for a raged section, if I'm getting into rage spell, or what is it, a rage tower, I'll drop the earthquake on top of it, and it just helps her move through that section a lot faster.
so it would have to be, so you're going to have to send her then towards like a very dense section.
Yes, I'm sent. Yeah, so I'm usually trying to get to. My goal is to take out 2 multi infernos. It's pretty simple.
That's
I'm just trying to take out 2 multi infernos. However, I can get to those 2 multi infernos the easiest way possible. That's what I'm doing. Nothing else matters.
Is that because of your dragons, or would you do that if you were doing like your ground thing?
It's
Like,
because I use the furnaces in my CC, and 1 multi inferno will completely void your furnace.
yeah,
Like your furnace will just sit there trying to take out a multi inferno and it won't do anything. So I try to take 2 of those out, and then on one side of the base I drop my siege barracks and my queen, and they'll pretty much just take out the weak side. And then on the other side, I send in my dragons, and they're just taking everything else out.
trying to think about how this works into my attack. Because I'm using ground and I'm using a furnace CC. I don't really. I got to think about that more with how I'm using it, I guess. I think I'm usually sending everything. I don't know if I'm.
Those multi infernos will completely negate your furnaces. So like those need to be a priority for you.
Yeah, I guess what I'm. And maybe where our attacks differ is it's usually aimed where I'm going to have something else with it, right? Like I'm usually
Okay.
not
Yes.
aiming them at a core or like because they come out late, so they're usually on the backside. I gotta look deep at that with my stuff too. Maybe are my attacks going. It's usually not the. I guess what I mean to say is, and so inarticulately, is that it is not usually the furnaces that mess up my attack. Um, but I will, or not the furnaces, the infernos. I mean, mess up my attack. But I got to pay attention to that closer now because maybe I am losing some that I don't. Maybe that earthquake and stuff, or maybe aiming her. Maybe that's like a big piece that I'm taking out the wrong thing. I guess
It helps for me, and then I try to start it in a way where I'm not going at both spitters, because those spitters will do a ton of damage. So try to make sure that however I'm entering the base, I got it. So I'm looking at where are the multi infernos. Okay, how can I get to them? Usually there's like 2 different paths that I can take to get there. Which one is going to avoid a spitter with my core army? And also, because I'm running air, I got to factor the sleepers. But I can usually address, the sweeper issue with my queen and the giant arrow. I've gotten pretty good at aiming that giant arrow.
that is a talent that is wild. On my second account though, I'm using the giant arrow. and
I love it.
air.
It's fun to use.
I'm not doing too bad with it, but it's messy. I don't know if I'll ever build. I'm waiting for like the next piece of equipment, like the
The,
healer thing, so I can.
the the trick that I found, don't go with the middle of a base, go cross corners.
I always
So
shoot
for
from a
me,
corner.
like shoot from a corner. If you start shooting from a corner, because you can easily, like even if you check it on your screen and just like draw a line from corner to corner, and then you can like move it over one piece and go across. So go cross corners of a building.
Oh, that makes sense.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be at the very corner of the base, but cross corners of a building, because then it's, at least for me, it's easy to visualize that line. But usually like the sweepers and everything are like one or two buildings off the corner. And so knowing that if I hit it perfectly, I can go right across the corners of a building and take out, you know, usually a sweeper into air defenses.
Yeah, and if you're going on that corner, that angle is just going to be naturally way more focused. Like if you hit
Exactly.
it from the main, like a flat side of the base, any turn is going to make the angle super wide.
It's
You
almost
know,
impossible to aim on the flat side, but if you go at the corner, you can actually see where it's going to go.
oh, maybe I'll have talent with it. It's kind of weird. In on my second account, it's just a TH9. It's catching up right now. I attack with dragons. I don't think I get attack with
Oh,
dragons on my main account.
I'm gonna have to go watch it. I just want to see you do a dragon hit.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, well, I guess I've been doing hogs and dragons. Well, where I'll just do so it's TH9. I'll do like a queen walk, and I'll have my minion prince, and then so I'll do the queen walk, drop the hogs to try to get into the air defenses and heals, and then my dragons and minion prince. And I haven't done a lot of wars with it and stuff, but I mean I'm doing well when I do hit with it.
It's crazy how much easier the lower town halls feel after being in Town Hall 17.
Yeah, it does. I do kind of think though, like even if I got Junior up to like TH17, I think he'd be a completely different attacker than I am. He'd probably be an air attacker, and I don't attack with air. Isn't that weird?
I I would love to have two 17s and just have two separate attacks
Armies.
on each account. So that's one of my goal, is to get to that point where I have two max town hall bases and one's a ground attacking base and one is an air attacking, just to force me to learn both metas.
Well, where are your accounts at right now? Like, which you have
So
a Sergeant Pig, right?
yeah, WarPig's just about maxed. Um, Sergeant Pig is, I just went to Town Hall 15. So I'm a little rushed. I'm not like too rushed on that account. And then Feral Swine is Town Hall 11 or 12.
How is upgrading on those now? Are you playing them?
I'm playing Sergeant Pig, and trying to get that one to 17.
Okay.
But the other ones, I'm just kind of like, I go in, so I have one over an Elwar board. So that one, I just barely playing it. I log in, I'll try to get a builder moving, but I'm not playing it regularly.
Okay. Yeah. See, so the other big news, I guess, is that after 13 years, Scotty 827 finally maxed his base.
Congrats, that's huge.
Don't give up on your dreams, kids. You can do it. It might take you 13 years, but dreams do come true. So I have been playing those other accounts just a little bit more. Mine is a 9, and then I have a new one, Darth Scotty 827 at a 5, I think. And on that one, I'm just going in. I'm going in more often and starting things on all of them. Is basically, and just kind of working up. But I started that one for last CWL so I could be in all three clans. I think I'm gonna just max that one every level. I almost feel
Okay.
like I'm gonna pass the other one for some reason because I don't know, it's just a little bit more robust. And maybe I just did it all. I was just rushing the other one up. So um
And are you going to buy Gold Pass or anything for either of those?
no, no, I think I'll keep it free to play. Eh, I think so. Never say never. Uh
Yep.
but we do have Town Hall 18 coming up. And I got to be careful with those type of things. I don't like it when I feel like I have to do something. You know, when I create
Yep.
these accounts, I'm like, it gets to be overwhelming to be like, God, I got to go log in this and log in this. So with them, I kind of just say to myself, like, when I'm doing it, if I do it, awesome, but don't get stuck in that mindset because then it feels like a job kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat. My minis, I'm not going to buy Gold Passes or anything for until once I max my main account at Town Hall 18, because I imagine I'll probably max pretty soon, like relative to where I'm at today. Then I'll probably focus on trying to get my second account up because long term I want to have two max accounts, but I'm not rushing to do that, in the next year.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm wondering if you've heard anything about TH18 and kind of what you're thinking or what you're hoping for. Because you watch
I have
other YouTubers and stuff too, so I'm not even sure if you might know more than I do. Which is probably true because I don't know anything.
I don't know anything about Town Hall 18. I did just this morning listen to Trample Damage's latest podcast, and he kind of speculated what he think it's going to be. So I also have speculations, but I haven't seen anything come out as far as leaks or what it might look like or what actually is going to be incorporated in Town Hall 18 yet.
I'll have to check that out after we're done. So he was thinking about ideas or things that he was hoping for.
Yes, and and I agree with a lot of them. So he said, he thinks that the new defense will be, single target defense, which I agree with because they have so much splash damage right now.
What would you want to
He
see
also thinks
for that?
I would want to see. I agree. I think a single targeting defense, and I would love to see. And I don't know how you do it, but I want to see him like make it so the meta can be a little bit more friendly to the weaker defense offensive troops. So like right now, it's really difficult to run hogs or to run some of the smaller troops. Like you just need those tanky troops like dragons or super yetis or roots. Um, so if they went away from splash damage a little bit and went to
Yeah,
single point target defenses, I think it might open those up for people.
that's where I'm wondering with that spring trap update if it doesn't force people into just more numbers. Like more troops, things with like hogs, like witches, like
Yep.
something like that. Yeah.
And I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to make it so you can use those smaller troops and it be a viable option to be competitive.
Yeah, because Chewie was using those super hogs and stuff. And that was like,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen those for a while now.
I just saw somebody in the friendly war we were in use hogs. I got a 2-star, but it was a pretty strong attack.
I should practice with those. Maybe when I'm practicing hogs with the smaller account, then I try them out on the new one. That'd be kind of cool. What else
I
was?
want to.
Oh, sorry. You want?
I was just on that note. I would love to be able to run Lalo again. I think that would be a lot of fun. But loons just they melt so quick. I know there are people that can run loons Lalo, like Carbon Finn can run it. But I'm not I'm not at his level to actually make Lalo work.
Have you ever tried just one of your old armies, like throwing it in?
Yes, and I get demolished every time.
Okay. I should go back. Yeah. I
Like,
look at some of my
you,
recipes. I'm like, no wonder people think I'm crazy. Some of them on there. What else was he thinking? What are you thinking for Town Hall 18? I like that idea too. I mean, I think that's, and I don't know if it's, maybe it's, here's where I don't know what I want or if I even want this, but it would be interesting or troublesome if it was like only a hero targeting or didn't target heroes or it only targeted troops or something. I don't know. It just popped in my head.
yeah, no, that would be tough. I agree. I wouldn't like that either. Because I want to see. I want right now. Like you take out at least a third of the base, if not more, with just your heroes.
Yeah.
So heroes was so strong. I'd like to see a little bit more emphasis on the troops again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about the heroes and the equipment.
Because
Really.
like right now, the state of the game, like if you do a 10 invis RC charge and you do it effectively, like yeah, most people run dragons for speed, but I think you could at that point drop anything and it's going to clean up the base.
Well, and here's an example too, in the friendly challenge or like in the war and how I'm hitting. If I lose my RC at the beginning, maybe that shouldn't, and sometimes I can recover, right? But most of the time it's like, well, I'm just not going to have it now. Just that one hero is going to make that much of a difference to the attack. You know what I mean? She gets in and I can't get her out in time, and then I end up with an 80% or 85% because I couldn't recall her out. And so maybe
Yep.
that's, I don't know.
I'd like to see that adjust. I'd like because right now so many people are dependent on the RC, and now there's exceptions, right? There's the people that are using the fireball really effectively. Like I see Daddy-O, and I know Shock uses the fireball with all the furnaces. Like that's a pretty impressive attack. Or even the rocket loon attack. Those are the two strongest metas. It's either you learn how to RC charge or you get really good with the fireball.
You were using what's the place of your MP in all this?
Oh, I love the MP. He's still my favorite. Um, so I'm still using the MP with the dark orb and the dark crown. And he's a truck stick. When you get that MP going and he's like fully big or whatever it is with that dark crown, he just mows through things.
That's what I
It's
was
a
going
lot
to
of fun.
ask about was the Dark Crown because I don't understand it at all. Like I haven't talked to anybody about it except for what I've heard of you in chat. Could you
Yeah,
explain
I and
to
I
me as because from on my TH9, I have that as like is one of the pieces.
it is it turns your MP into a linebacker. So after a certain amount of troops, I don't know the numbers, but after a certain amount of troops die, he starts gaining more hit power. So he like actually gets bigger on the screen as troops die. So the more troops die, the stronger he gets. And he just starts like the small buildings, he just one shots.
Oh. So okay, this was my question on that because you said he ramps up and, so I'm kind of like putting out my understanding and I don't understand football. I uh does like so if I'm going to use like the furnaces with it, right? Or like witches, is it are numbers going to affect it? Because Shock said
It is, I
something
can't.
about that, like that the furnaces will ramp up damage. But you know how that works?
It's housing space. Yes, it's based on a certain amount of housing space. Once a certain amount of housing space dies on the map, he gets his full attacking ability. So fire mites and whatever regular mites, they just count towards that housing space.
So do you use those to like start off your attack?
No, no, I don't. I'm just using dragons. But a couple dragons and they die quick enough. By the time I need that ability, he's
Yeah.
fully raged up and just tanking through stuff.
So how long does it take him to get to that point where he's filled up?
Honestly, I don't know. I would say so. The first minute of the attack is my RC charge. The second attack is just kind of pushing through with the dragon. So I'd say the last minute of the attack, he's like fully
Okay.
banging, just wrecking stuff.
So it's significant amount.
Yeah, it is. It's a noticeable, and especially when he like every once in a while he runs off by himself and he just looks like this big menace, and he's just wrecked.
I'll have to do some more attacking with him. When that new equipment, the torch came out, I think I was finishing up one piece of equipment before that. Oh, what was it? I think it was something I was trying to catch up on. And then I had started to use the minion prints a little bit. And then I knew the torch was coming out. So I think I abandoned the Dark Crown for a while because I hadn't like really used the minion prints all that much or anything. So I'm like, I got to prioritize what I have. But so I got to get that piece of equipment up, and then maybe I'll start working it in on my ground stuff.
I just the only thing I was going to caution with ground is he's real squishy, so it works really well with dragons because the dragons are in front of your minion prints.
Yeah, I suppose.
Without the henchmen, like a black mine can just take out your minion prints. So I would be a little cautious about using dark ground with a ground army.
Okay. Maybe I should prioritize my fireball first then. Because I've got that at 23 and that's the one I really need to I don't have access to with some of these attacks still. So you know what I mean? Where you're sitting there with that really strong piece of minion prints equipment, or like, the fireball's there. I just am not using it. So I haven't upgraded it.
Well, if your fireball's at 23, it's usable. Like you just got to bring an extra earthquake.
I've been seeing that attack where with the invis and the fireball, and I want to try it out. It seems like everything's always going so fast. So between we're doing CWL, you get done, you're exhausted, and catching up, over the week, and then you're gearing up again, and I get afraid of like completely switching up an attack right before CWL. But
Agreed. And I think I'm going to use next month as an excuse, knowing that it's a new league and everything else. Try to start working in something new, and I think it'll be a super Yeti attack. I won't change for CWL. I'll stick with dragons for CWL, but I think Legend League or whatever the new ranked league is going to be, I'll probably try super Yetis.
have you heard any more about that?
Nothing new, nothing. So I got no new information since basically what you and Tyler talked about, and it's just that there's going to be potentially 6 hits, and it's a ranked mode, and it'll be similar to Legends, but more to come, hopefully soon.
I suppose I was just going to say, I wonder if they'll do a reset still at the end of the month.
They said that your ranking at the end of this month matters.
I guess, I mean,
So
for like
whatever that
after when we start the new system, like will the ranking just continue on, or will it reset every month?
I assume it's going to be the same as Legend is now.
Okay.
I think it's going to be
Yeah.
like Legend League. Just that now you're going to have the option of a Legend League, or you can farm.
Yeah. I just by the looks of it, I think it is like I think it looks great. It just kind of seems like makes it intuitive, probably kind of takes it back to how it really kind of used to be, and kind of gets more at what the game has
I
kind
think
of
it'll be.
become.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, I want to be able to hit with my main account instead of clogging up the chat. Right. Like at night, like I would just sit and hit while I'm on a treadmill if I can just hit bases, and but now we just have those few attacks. I was just thinking about that, like if it, that's also another pressure, right? In switching and changing up armies is then we get the end of Legend League. It's not at the end of the month, so you don't want to switch it up right before the end of Legends, which is what, in the 20s of the month usually. So
Yep.
so if you're grinding, it's can be a little tough, but I know people that are doing it and practicing. It's been kind of a busy time of year too. What else
Yes,
on?
this summer I feel flew by. So
Yeah, and Canada was on fire this summer, so it was not a big outdoor summer for us in Minnesota. Wildfires up north. It looked like sunset all day long.
oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. What else on the TH18? I'm gonna have to check out
So
that episode.
I hope they come out with a new hero at intro. And I'm
Ooh.
most excited for a new troop. I want to see what a new troop will be, and I hope it's something fun to play with.
Aren't they introducing that elephant rider?
Yeah, but is that a permanent troop or is that a temporary troop?
I think it's a permanent one.
Okay. I thought that was a temporary troop, but I don't know for
That
sure.
troop contest that they did. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember seeing the picture of it where it's basically like a hog rider, but he's on an elephant that crashes through walls instead of a hog.
And we haven't heard anything about it since.
That would be cool because that would be really fun. I mean, if it's like it's kind of like a root rider, like a mix between a root rider and a hog rider. Like that could be really fun, especially if you pair it with something else.
Yeah.
It starts bashing through walls, and then you got your super yetis or something else following it. Like that would be a fun attack.
Everybody kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, I did until you just said it.
Me too. I don't even know where that came from. Wow. Nice job, Supercell. Keeping that one. What would you want for that would be a cool I'm trying to think about what was being said at the time about it, if it was OP or might that could explain the spring traps.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, there's a dusty old memory from just a few months ago. That no what would you want for a hero?
Oh, I have not really put a lot of thought into this. What Trample said earlier, and I think this is smart, is he's like, I guess in Discord people have mentioned like a goblin king. So a king that targets resources and or the town hall. So if you could funnel him in a way where he just beeline to a town hall, that would be kind of fun as an attack.
My mind envisioned like a witch hero. As
That
you're
would
saying
be
that,
awesome.
because I was thinking,
Yeah,
is you're saying the goblin and getting in there to get stuff. I'm like, what numbers would be cool, but like a kind of like a super witch, but
even more super.
even more super, and maybe with little skeletons.
That would be a lot of fun having a super witch hero. That would be cool.
If the bases are getting so big and spread out, something to introduce more things. And that's what the
Or
goblin
maybe
would be good at too.
maybe she has the night witch. So she has the bats.
Yeah. Yeah. Supercell,
Because
you
then
better get on this and introduce it
it's
for Halloween season.
that would be awesome because then it's a ground troop, right? So she's also giving you air coverage. So now all of a sudden you can start using
You could use her
your
with,
minion friends with ground armies.
and you could use her with air armies.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Oh man, we did it. We did it.
Yep. Supercell, you can
Well,
send us t-shirts.
that's it, everybody. Get a hold of it. That would be really cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
That would be fun.
Be kind of cool, like a hog one too. Or it'd be cool if they did like a year of like every month was a troop made a hero. Maybe that's
Yeah,
a horrible maybe that's a horrible idea, because then it would be a temporary thing. But well, okay, we did it. We just yeah, I don't know what else to say. What else on TH18?
I guess I'd like to see a new pet, and I'd like to see some sort of air pet. It'd be nice to have a couple more options for pets on for air attackers.
Yeah, I'm kind of forgetting about the pets now that they're maxed out.
I'm still finishing Lassie. Everything else is maxed, and I think I got 1 or 2 levels left on Lassie, and then I'm done.
Are you done with all your heroes? You're maxed
Yep,
out.
heroes have been done for a while.
Yeah,
I did a good job. I rushed, but I did not rush my heroes. I made sure I maxed them or got them near max before I went up to the next level.
yeah. As soon as my heroes were done, then the pets went really fast, because any of the extra books I could use on those to catch up.
Same, but I refuse to use books on Lassie, so those I'm converting into gems. I'm not going to use it, so I might as well just wait for it to be done.
You know, maybe they'll go back to the pets and rework their AI and stuff, and adapt them, upgrade those a little bit, like Lassie and in those ones that are underused.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, because we haven't really had much with the pets. Were more on a rotation, it seemed like, for a while, and then it's kind of stalled out.
Yeah, I feel like there hasn't been a lot of big changes with the pets, and you just see the same ones. There's not a ton of variety.
Are you using Sneezy?
I'm using Sneezy on the Warden.
That Sneezy's awesome.
My Little Pony on my Queen.
Little Sebastian, that son of a bitch.
Enix on the Minion Prince, and then Spirit Fox on the RC, which I think is what 90% of the people are doing.
Yeah, I'm getting better with that.
Are you doing the same thing?
I'm using the King. I have the Phoenix.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
I've got the Warden has Sneezy. Queen has Frosty. And then the MP, I'll put the if I use that, I'll put the Phoenix on him. I think that's I should think about those pets. Maybe that's with my attacks is now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, maybe I should think about what's on the Queen for a pet. Or maybe I should think about with the King, like, because I've got the snake bracelet, maybe putting in the yak again. Maybe just a little twist somewhere in there is something that kind of helps just take it up.
I went through a phase where, like, I think a month or 2 ago, last time I was in the pod, I was kind of like playing with pets and tweaking things. I really didn't notice a big difference, on my hit rate when I was switching them out, but it was more just personal preferences. Like I go back and forth between the Frosty and the Pony, and I found that I think I like the Pony a little bit more.
I'm going to try that. I did play around with it, and I was killing it for one night. I was unstoppable when I was FCing my base. And I went to bed thinking, I just did it. I finally figured out something that's going to make a huge difference now. And then I got up and I couldn't do it. It was gone. And what I did was I switched everything around just a little bit, except for I put the snake bracelet in the Bamp stash on the king.
Must have been indestructible.
Practically indestructible. And then I put Sneezy on him. So I had Sneezy and the snake bracelet. And then I could clone all of them wherever on the base.
Snake and the booger.
Yeah, because I rely on the booger clone like majorly in my attack. Like I'm waiting for
Can
that.
I start calling that the Scotty clone? Because I think you invented that.
The Scotty snot.
The Scotty snot.
Because I wait for that one. I keep my clone till late in the game, and then I wait for wherever I'm going to get that snot. Maybe a weak side of the base, or maybe right at the heart, inside the heart of something. Those things, and you clone them, they'll do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I've seen it on your attacks. There's been a couple times where I'm like, "Oh no, Scotty, you're not going to get it," and then you clone all those snots, and I'm like, "Oh, just wiped out the base." Like I did not.
It's going to get right in front of the heroes. It'll save them. So I really planned that in. But so I would take and I can't remember how I was like positioning it, like how I was thinking about what the king was doing, because that made all the difference. And I was just hitting the base, and the king could walk right through and just take damage and take damage. But then we got into a war, and I'm like, okay, I better not put this in and whatnot. But it was fun to see that king, though, in that state.
It is fun to switch it up. And I'm looking forward to next month to just do a little bit more experimenting. And like at one point I was using the king instead of the queen, and that was fun. Like you said, using the snake bracelet. I was using the spiky ball because the spiky ball just does so much damage.
Yeah, I took it out and I was like, I don't think this will work. I don't think I can do anything. But it was. Anything else on TH18?
That's it. That's it for me. Anything from you?
I hope they preview it sometime soon, because it's not really that far away.
I'm very optimistic for Town Hall 18. I feel like the Clash community can be a little pessimistic or have knee-jerk negative reactions to new things, but I think Supercell has done a pretty good job, and I'm looking forward to it.
Shoutouts.
Yes, shoutouts. I will shout out the CFF guys. We're doing that draft war.
Let's talk about the draft war.
I'll shout them out at the same time. So okay. Everyone that put there, it's really cool. I'll let you explain it.
No, you go for it. Sorry. I jumped.
So,
I panicked when I looked at the draft wars on my list, and
so the Clash Files guys, part of the Pineapples and Thorns podcast. They've been, it seems like once a month they organize some sort of tournament. In this past month, they just did a draft tournament. So they made 4 teams and they picked everybody, old gym style, just a regular draft. Me and Scotty somehow ended up on the same team. And it's been really fun. So 4 teams of 20.
And so we did round 1 yesterday. Tomorrow's round 2. I got to say about those guys, and when you say like, they're putting on the events and stuff, I go into their Discord. They make me look really bad. I mean, these guys got a great like community events going on, great graphics, announcements, state of the union addresses, like announcement. Here's this stuff. I'm like, wow, that's an impressive community system that they got going over. Looking at this draft war and the coordination with it, but it's very smooth, and I'm just really impressed. And I go, wow, I gotta get my work together. Gotta get my shit together over here in the L Discord.
Well, You have been doing an excellent job, and I think partnering with more of these clans, like seeing what the CFF guys are doing, like talking with pushing force. We got some of the henchmen. Like we're growing a pretty big community. So as we grow more, we'll pick and choose from all these different other Swine families, and I think you'll have a pretty strong Discord built in no time.
Well, you had said like we were doing some of the tournaments, and you got me into like to one, and I'm trying to put all the follows into like a community thing so we can see those things coming out. So I agree. It's been so much fun to war with them. It's fun to be there and see everybody that you know, war with people. I got to hit Cool Rick in this last
Yeah,
war.
that was cool.
Oh, I destroyed his base. I 3-starred it, and then no, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Cool Rick from the Reddit Talks Clash podcast. And that's, to be able to go up against another podcaster, that's like, it's so much fun. And we both 2-star 90% at each other. So it was like
It,
deadlocked.
it was kind of nice that you guys, I think you were both number 2 on the war map, and
It,
you both had the exact same hit on each other.
yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. I messaged him like tied or something like that. Cause it's just so fun to see that so thank you to that community and, everybody putting that stuff together. It's really much appreciated and fun. And, other shout outs.
Yeah, so just the Momo House of Owl members, all the new members, Goat, Pet Feta, they've been doing really good. Fury did awesome in CWL. Beer Zombie, he was a beast. I think he hit like the top 3 bases and nearly went perfect. So shout out to all those guys and to everybody else in the House of Owl.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the House of L. Shout out to General Mathers and Messi who stopped by. I'm going to forget people like I always do. Goat, Pecapedia, Griffin, Swimmy.
Oh yeah, Griffin, he's been crushing it.
Yeah, Swimmy. Shout out to Swimmy and to Spaceman. Everybody, I appreciate you guys and
Pamba.
Pamba. Yeah, he had a date last night. I got to find out how it went.
We're rooting for him.
Yep, you got it, Pamba. Other than that, shout out to all you listeners out there. Get a hold of us at clashclanspodcast@gmail.com or clashclanspodcast.com. You can find all the info with the Discord, and there'll be more stuff posted there, but all the episodes are posted there now too. So until next time, everybody, keep it clashy.
Keep it clashy. Thanks, Scotty.
Skilly beep 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 skilly beep.